Right, good evening, everyone. We'll go with take two. Joys of technology. There were some issues with the live chat feed. So, once again, welcome to Friday night's quiz. We're here every Friday, LA Cinema Film Quiz, 8:30. The quiz normally goes on for around about 90 minutes. And at the end, I'll read back all the answers. And in just a minute, I'll go through the rounds and just tell you a little bit how tonight will work. So to start off with, if anyone's using the live chat feed, please introduce yourselves. Tell me where you're logged in this evening. Anyone from the UK? If so, tell me whereabouts you're located. Anyone from outside the UK, just give us a shout out and let us know as well if you've taken part in any of the previous quizzes before. Anyway, before we begin the quiz, I'll just give you a little bit of a background on LA Cinema. We're a community cinema that are based in Bristol in a village called Long Ashton, and we normally run a monthly film screening event, which is every third Saturday of the month. Obviously, at the moment, we're unable to host our screenings. We normally show a mix of films from mainstream Hollywood features to indie films to some of the great films being made in Europe and across the world. And we wanted, during the government lockdown period, to still have a presence and be doing some during the lockdown period. And basically tonight, it's just a fun film quiz to test your film knowledge. Hopefully you'll enjoy it, and hopefully you'll tune in again next week. As I said, we run it every week at 8:30, and the quiz normally goes on for around about 90 minutes. So yeah, I see a couple of people logged in on the live chat. Thank you kindly for joining us this evening. We've got Little Scientists who've got a YouTube channel for kids, teaching them scientific things, uploading video content, all good stuff. Matt Foster, that name rings a bell, thanks again. Stupid Penguin Sounds, that's somebody I know, I think. Henley's Bristol, thanks for tuning in. Andy Rouse, another familiar name. And again, Mr. Bassheart. Okay, we'll let a few more people join us. If you want to make any comment on the live chat or introduce yourself. So yeah, I've been furloughed for the last 8 weeks. I normally work in a cinema, a multiplex cinema. And obviously the cinemas in my hometown of Bristol are all closed at the moment. And there was news this week from View Cinema, the chairman of View, with the Desert Island Flicks, where I choose a film for a specific reason that I would take on a desert island, a crime film. So it'd be 5 rounds, as I said, and these are the rounds. And lastly, film to put that in as a round. So yeah, that's the 5 rounds. And then finally at the end, when we've done the little Desert Island Flick segment, I'll read back all the answers. So yeah, I mentioned a minute ago about UK cinemas hopefully being able to reoperate under safety guide. Rock and roll icons, Little Richard, who was such a great 12 years ago, doing a gig at St David's Hall in Wales, in Cardiff. Streaming channels or on Blu-ray and DVD, you have picked up on the film Tyrion collection, and this is a film by the tour of the house. Right. Sorry about that, everyone. Is that any better? There was some connection issues. Can everybody see the feed at the moment? If so, let me know and we'll make a start. So let me know and we'll make a start in just a minute. Everybody logged on? Do you want me to make a start? Excellent. The joys of technology. Okay. In the lounge now. Okay. First embarrassment of the night. Okay, so round number one is we're going to do the horror genre. So all these questions will be in relation to horror films. And what I'll do is I'll repeat them when I've read them out. So 10 questions for this round. Good luck. And all I'll say is, yeah, don't write your answers in the comments section. And good luck. Okay, so question number one, round number one. Name this classic 1973 psychological horror. So it stars Donald Sutherland and Judy Christie as a married couple who are grieving their daughter's recent death and confront a psychic who brings them a warning from beyond. So that's question number one. So I want you to name the classic 1973 psychological horror. It stars actor Donald Sutherland and Judy Christie as a married couple who are grieving their daughter's recent death and confront a psychic who brings them a warning from beyond. Name the film. That's question number one. Okay, so moving on to number two, I want you to name the American actress who plays Carrie White, a teenage girl who has telekinetic powers in Brian De Palma's 1976 movie Carrie. So yeah, we're on the horror theme. But I want you to tell me the American actress who plays Carrie White, a teenage girl who has telekinetic powers in Brian De Palma's 1976 movie Carrie. That's number two. And we'll move on to question number three. All these films in relation to the horror genre. So number three, I want you to name the American director who directed these acclaimed horror films. They're Midsommar and Hereditary. So Midsommar and Hereditary. Name the American filmmaker who directed the acclaimed horror films Midsommar and Hereditary. Okay, moving on to number four. I want you to name the actress who plays Reagan, a 12-year-old girl possessed by the devil in William Friedkin's The Exorcist. So number four again. Name the actress who plays Reagan, a 12-year-old girl possessed by the devil in William Friedkin's The Exorcist. Couple more left in this round. Number five now. Can you name the Polish-born director who made two acclaimed horror movies in the 1960s? The films were Repulsion in 1965 and Rosemary's Baby in 1968. So yeah, tell me the director of those two films. The same director links them, Polish-born director, and the two films are Repulsion, released in 1965, and Rosemary's Baby in 1968. Okay, number six, there's two answers to this particular question. So firstly, can you name the German-born director who made a number of classic silent films and directed the 1922 expressionist horror film Nosferatu? But for an extra point, name the German director who made the 1979 remake. So yeah, two answers for that one. I'll read that back again. So I want you to name the German-born director who made a number of classic silent films and directed the 1922 expressionist horror film Nosferatu. And then the second part of the question, for an extra point, name the German director who made the 1979 remake. Okay, 3 more to go in this round. It was 10 questions, all on horror films. Number 7, name the acclaimed 2017 movie directed by Jordan Peele. It's about a young African American who visits his girlfriend's parents for the weekend, where his simmering uneasiness about their reception eventually reaches boiling point. But name the film. It's a Jordan Peele film released in 2017, stars the British actor Daniel Kaluuya as a young African American who visits his girlfriend's parents for the weekend, where his uneasiness about their reception eventually reaches boiling point. Okay, so number 8 now. I want you to tell me how many films feature the fictional character Freddy Krueger, who stalks teenagers in their dreams and kills them. So I want you to tell me how many films feature him. So just need a number for this one. Okay, so number 8 again. How many films feature the fictional character Freddy Krueger, who stalks teenagers in their dreams and kills them? Okay, so 2 more questions. The next one is two questions, so 2 answers for this one. Name the actor who played Freddy Krueger, originally with director Wes Craven, but for an extra point, name the horror television series which featured Krueger in the title role and ran from 1988 to 1990. So yeah, 2 questions for question number 9. Name the actor who played Freddy Krueger originally with director Wes Craven. And then secondly, can you tell me the television series, the name of it, which featured Krueger in the title role, and it aired from 1988 to 1990. And then lastly, number 10 for horror films. All I want you to do is fill in the blank and complete the title of this well-known 1920 German silent movie. And it is The Cabinet of Dr. So you just need to fill in the blank at the end. So fill in the blank and complete this title of a well-known 1920 German silent film. It's The Cabinet of Dr. Fill in the blank. Okay, so that was the 10 questions for the first round, which was the horror genre. Technology issues aside, we got there in the end. Let me know, how do you think you got on with that particular round with the 10 questions? Anyone confident they did well on this one? Some tricky questions in there. I tried to do a mix of contemporary horror films and some more classic ones. How did everyone think they fared on this one? Anyone confident they got them all? And are there any big horror fans out there taking part in tonight's quiz? How do you think you all got on? That was a scary round. Yeah, it was indeed. It was even scarier for me because I thought the router was going to go down at one point. So I quickly ran into the living room. But we got there in the end. First time it's happened. Fingers crossed it won't happen again. Okay, so Zach Bowen's confident that he got an 8. Lucy Hawkins thinks she started well on that one. Okay, you'll find out the answers later on. So yeah, if you've taken part in the quiz previously, for the last couple of weeks, we've put this round in that seems to always go down well. It's movie taglines again. We've had people ask for this one to come back. Basically, a tagline is normally a slogan that's used on a film poster campaign. It's normally about a sentence or a paragraph to try and sell the movie. And some of these are really, really good. Okay, so 10 questions again. I'll read out the tagline. All you need to do is tell me which film it's from. So number 1, a new comedy about sex, murder, and seafood. It's number 1, a new comedy about sex, murder, and seafood. Number 2 now. The longer you wait, the harder it gets. It's pretty clever, that one. The longer you wait, the harder it gets is number 2. As I said last week, some of these are so clever. I'd love a job coming up with these little taglines for films. I think they're great. Number 3 now. He's in town with a few days to kill. He's in town with a few days to kill. It's a tagline for a film, but which film? Number 4 now. The tagline is cocktails first, questions later. Cocktails first, questions later. Okay, number 5 now, movie taglines. He may be dead, but he's the life of the party. So number 5, he may be dead, but he's the life of the party. Number 6 now on film taglines. This one's experience it, enjoy it, just don't fall for it. So number 6, experience it, enjoy it, just don't fall for it. Moving on to 7, a couple more to go in this round. He is afraid, he is totally alone, he is 3 million light years from home is number 7. So I'll repeat that again. He is afraid, he is totally alone, he is 3 million light years from home. Number 8 now, a couple more left for this one, this round. Number 8, just because they serve you doesn't mean they like you. So question number 8 again. Just because they serve you doesn't mean they like you. 2 more to go. As I said earlier, we've been doing this movie taglines for a couple of weeks now, and it always seems to go down really well. So I brought it back again this week. Be interested to see at the end if you want us to bring it back for yet another week. So moving on to number 9, you won't know the facts until you've seen the fiction. Number 9, you won't know the facts until you've seen the fiction. And lastly, number 10. So number 10 is be in the adventures of a young man whose principal interests are rape, ultraviolence, and Beethoven. That is the tagline for 10. Number 10 again, be in the adventures of a young man whose principal interests are rape, ultraviolence, and Beethoven. All 10. Round number 2, that was the tagline round. Anyone need any of those questions repeating before we move on? If anyone's taken part in the quiz before, they've obviously seen this round before. How did everybody get on with that round? And would you like to see movie taglines back for maybe another week, for next week? Be interested to see your comments on the live feed. How did you get on with that one? To be honest, when I write the quiz, I probably would say that's my favourite round. I think some of the slogans are great. How did you all get on? Anybody confident that they got all 10 for this one? How do you think you did? We'll move on in just a moment to round number 3. So Zach Bowen, confident that he got an 8. Yeah, I agree, Andy. They are difficult. I think I might substitute it for a different round. We've done this one for about 3 or 4 weeks. Chris Judge, 5 there. Enjoyed the quotes from the previous week. Zach Bowen, 4. Okay, so we're going to move on to round number 3 now. It's name that film from the 1980s. So I'm going to give you a description of a film released in the 1980s decade. All you need to do is just tell me the name of the film. So we go with number 1. So the popular 1980s decade. So question number 1. So a 1982 comedy drama starring Sean Penn and Jennifer Jason Leigh. A group of Southern Californian high school students are enjoying their most important subjects: sex, drugs, and rock and roll. So this is a 1982 comedy, stars Sean Penn and Jennifer Jason Leigh in their young days, and it's about a group of Southern Californian high school students enjoying their most important subjects: sex, drugs, and rock and roll. But name the film. So yeah, all these questions are from the 80s. Number 2 now, a 1986 movie based on a Stephen King novel. After the death of one of his friends, a writer recounts a boyhood journey with his friends to find the body of a missing boy. So that's the second description. A film from 1986 is based on a Stephen King novel. After the death of one of his friends, a writer recounts a boyhood journey with his friends to find the body of a missing boy. But name the film. Okay, question number 3. This is a very popular film from 1985. And it's about a group of young misfits who discover an ancient map and set out an adventure to find a legendary pirate's long-lost treasure. Tell me the name of the film. So going back to 1985, it's a film about a group of young misfits who discover an ancient map and set out on an adventure to find a legendary pirate's long-lost treasure. That one's number 3. Number 4 now. So number 4 is a bizarre mystery thriller from 1986. The discovery of a severed human ear found in a field leads a young man on an investigation related to a beautiful, mysterious nightclub singer and a group of psychopathic criminals. But name the film. So number 4 is a bizarre mystery thriller from 1986. The discovery of a severed human ear found in a field leads a young man on an investigation related to a beautiful, mysterious nightclub singer and a group of psychopathic criminals. What was the film from 1986? It was a very good film indeed. So number 5 now, a popular film from 1987. After moving to a new town, 2 brothers discover that the area is a haven for vampires. So what's the film? Released in 1987. After moving to a new town, 2 brothers discover that the area is a haven for vampires. Okay, we move on to number 6. Round number 3, a few more left. So this is a comedy romance from 1985. 2 high school nerds use a computer program to create the perfect woman, but she turns their lives upside down. She literally turns their lives upside down. 1985 film, two high school nerds use a computer program to create the perfect woman, but she turns their lives upside down. What is the film? Number 7 now. I think you'll all get this one. So this is a 1987 ultra-violent science fiction movie set in a dystopic and crime-ridden Detroit as a terminally wounded cop returns to the force as a powerful cyborg haunted by his memories. So that's number 7. A 1987 science fiction movie set in a dystopic and crime-ridden Detroit as a wounded cop returns to the force as a powerful cyborg haunted by his memories. Number 8 now. All films from the 1980s. We're going to move on to another comedy from 1982. The character's Michael Dorsey, an unsuccessful actor, disguises himself as a woman in order to get a role on a trashy hospital soap. But name the movie. Released way back in 1982 as a comedy. The main character is called Michael Dorsey, an unsuccessful actor who disguises himself as a woman in order to get a role on a trashy hospital soap. What is the film? 2 more left in this round. Number 9 next. Number 9's a 1980 comedy. An exclusive golf course has to deal with a brash member and a destructive dancing gopher. But what is the name of that comedy? Released in 1980, an exclusive golf course has to deal with a brash member and destructive dancing gopher. And lastly, number 10 from 1983, another comedy film. A snobbish investor and a wily street con artist find their positions reversed as part of a bet by 2 callous millionaires. But name the film. 1983 comedy. A snobbish investor and a wily street con artist find their positions reversed as part of a bet by 2 callous millionaires. Name the film. That's the 10 questions from round number 3. How did everyone fare on this one? And I'm sat in complete darkness, so I'll put some light on the subject. Oh, that's better. There will be light. So yeah, for this round, how did everybody fare for this one? The descriptions from films from the 1980s. A 9, Stupid Penguin, confident. Anyone else confident that they did well on this round? Somebody there, Matt Foster, an 80s boy, right up his street. Popular decade for film. There's some really good entertaining films in the 80s, many of which directed by the likes of Spielberg. There was Tom Hanks's Big, another popular film from that decade. Really standout films. Top Gun, the list goes on and on and on. Ghostbusters, it's pretty much endless. I look very relaxed on the sofa. I wasn't relaxed at the beginning of the quiz because the technology was all going cock-a-hoot this evening. Bad connection, the live chat was down. So I've literally have to run into my lounge. Even forgot to turn the light on. So one of those nights, I do apologise. And I've not even been drinking. Okay, so a couple of confidence scores there. Okay, so we'll move on to round number 4 in just a minute. 2 more rounds left for this evening. But before we move on, I was going to give another recommendation of a film I watched this week. Every week on the quiz, I try to recommend something that I've watched over the week. The first film I mentioned was Animal Kingdom that I saw early on this week, an Australian film. The second one I watched was a documentary film that I'd heard some very good things about. Let me know if you've seen it. It's called Icarus. and it's on Netflix. And this is quite an interesting film. It's about a young cyclist who decides that he's going to take part in a doping program with a Russian medical advisor, and he wants to be able to dope and use the symptoms available, but try to cheat the actual drugs test. And as I said, he gets involved with a Russian medical advisor, and halfway through the film, there becomes a confession by that man who says that he was employed by the Russians, the Russian state, to become involved with the Olympic program, and that he was involved in faking these doping tests so that athletes who were on illegal substances were able to be cleared. They wouldn't come out negative on the tests. So it's kind of a documentary in two parts, and it's certainly a very good one, very interesting film. Has anyone seen Icarus by any chance? It's available on Netflix. It's been up there for a couple of years. I think it was originally released in 2017. Yeah, and I highly recommend it. Another documentary series that I started this week. I just finished Tiger King, and I was looking for a documentary serial to pick up on, and I just happened to Google top picks for documentaries on the Netflix platform, and I started one yesterday called The Keepers. I don't know if anyone's seen this one. I think it's 8 parts, and the premise is it's set during the late 1960s, and in program number 1, a nun mysteriously goes missing, and a group of friends who knew her back in the 1960s decide to go on social media to try and reinvestigate the case. A body was found 2 months after, but the killer had never been caught or brought to justice. So it's about these friends reunited using social media to try and find new evidence and try and possibly come to a conclusion on who may have killed this woman. And it's called The Keepers. It's on Netflix. Yeah, Tiger King, I very much enjoyed. I thought it was brilliant. But there's so many great documentaries on Netflix. I enjoyed Wild Wild Country as well. But if anyone's on the live chat feed this evening and has any recommendations of documentaries they've watched on Netflix or any of the other streaming platforms, please let me know. I'd be interested to know. Anyway, we'll carry on. Less waffle for me, and we'll move on to round number 4. So yeah, a friend recommended doing this round last week. There was a question last week that related to the film Castaway, and it was in relation to a prop that was used in the film, which I believe was trying to recall. I think it was a volleyball that was used by Tom Hanks in the film. So I've decided to put together a round of movie props. So these are famous props from films, and I want you to just simply tell me the name of the film. And there's 10 questions for these. So yeah, I noticed on the feed a couple of recommendations. 20 Feet from Stardom. I don't know that one at all. Murder Mountain. That sounds quite interesting. Ozark. I've heard a bit about that. Yeah, the drama with Jason Bateman. He's always good. He did a film I liked a couple of years back that Joel Edgerton directed, and it was called The Gift. I don't know if any of you've seen that film. Came out 3 or 4 years ago, and I thought that was great. Anyway, round number 4. So prop number 1. Just name the film. The dental pick from a 1976 crime thriller. Tricky one. Number 1. The dental pick from a 1976 crime thriller. So these are all props, famous props from movies. You just simply need to name the film. Number 2, I think this one's probably the easiest. I'd imagine you'll all get this one. The box of chocolates from a Best Picture Oscar that won in 1995. So it's a box of chocolates from a Best Picture Oscar winner from 1995. That is number 2. Number 3 now, a prop from a film. It's the Burn Book from a 2004 American teen comedy film. I wouldn't know this one at all. Not even seen the film, but it's the Burn Book from a 2004 American teen comedy film. Number 4 now. 4 is The Golden Ticket. And this is a children's film from 1971. And it was remade in 2005. So the movie prop is The Golden Ticket from a children's film from 1971. And there was a remake in 2005. What was the film? So we're halfway through this round. We'll move on to number 5. So number 5 is the umbrella from a classic film musical from 1952. I'd imagine you'll all get this. A classic Hollywood film. It's the umbrella from a classic film musical released in 1952. Okay, so number 6 now. Number 6 is the Jetpack. It's a James Bond film released in 1965. Number 6, the Jetpack from a James Bond film from 1965. But what was the title? Okay, so number 7 is a film that I'm going to pick for my Desert Island flick later on. But the prop is the Bone Club. And it's a science fiction masterpiece from 1968. So number 7, the movie prop was the Bone Club. And it's from a science fiction masterpiece from 1968. Couple more left. 8's The Heart of the Ocean, which is a popular Oscar-winning film from 1997. So the prop was The Heart of the Ocean, and it's a popular Oscar-winning film released in 1997. I believe this one, won the best film. Won the best film prize. 2 more to go. Number 9. So number 9 is the Origami Unicorn from a 1982 film. Number 9, the Origami Unicorn from a film released in 1982, and one of my favourites. Probably another one that I would take on a desert island. A great film that I think flopped at the box office at the time, unbelievably. And number 10, probably the easiest one of the round, The Horsehead from a classic 1972 crime movie. Number 10, The Horsehead from a classic 1972 crime film. But what was the film? That's all 10. How did everybody fare on this round? And did everybody like this round? How did you feel about it? Would you like us to maybe bring this one back for another week, or were people not so keen on it? I think it's a tricky little round. But when my friend Jamie mentioned it, he said, why don't you do a round on movie props? And I thought, yeah, that kind of sounds interesting. So 10 questions. How did you all think you got on with this one? And thanks for your comment about the quiz. Yeah, as I said, we're here every Friday from 8:30 onwards. Just apologise about the the technology issue at the start, which is a little bit of a shame, but these things happen. I'm going to blame Virgin Media. That's who I use, and I know there's been some little issues with Virgin during the lockdown period, so I'll pass the buck on Mr. Branson. Okay, so Zach's confident he got a 9. Yeah, Matt Foster enjoyed the round. He's confident he got a 9. Yeah, there's a couple of easier ones. I think the box of chocolate ones is quite a simple one. The horse's head, that's such an iconic scene. I'd imagine most of you got that one. And we'll move on now to the penultimate round. So question number 40. The last round somebody recommended last week. If you tuned in, please give us a shout out and let me know if it was yourself. They asked for Marvel films. So 10 questions about the very popular Marvel studio films. And I got to be honest, I am not a particular Marvel fan. I kind of fit a little bit into the Martin Scorsese category, but I've not really seen enough of these films. So yeah, coming up with 10 questions was kind of, for me, a little bit tricky. But yeah, all these films are in relation to superhero films made under the Marvel umbrella. So number 1, I want you to name the American actor who plays Spider-Man's arch villain. Plays Adrian Toms, Vulture, in the 2017 Marvel Studios movie Spider-Man Homecoming. Tell me who the actor is. Yeah, I've seen Guardians of the Galaxy. Yeah, I've seen that one, and I've seen the sequel. So name the American actor who plays Spider-Man's arch villain, Adrian Toms or Vulture, in the 2017 movie Spider-Man Homecoming. That one's number 1. Number 2. So I want you to name the director of Iron Man, released in 2008, Iron Man 2, 2010, and he's also the creator of Star Wars: The Mandalorian television series. But name the director. Very talented guy. He's directed a number of films that have all done very well at the box office and critically. But name the director of Iron Man, the sequel Iron Man 2. He's also the creator of Star Wars: The Mandalorian television series. Tell me his name. Moving on to number 3. We're going to do something a little bit music related. This is the tricky one. And this one relates to Matt Foster's Guardians of the Galaxy. So the song Do You Like Pina Colada features in the film Guardians of the Galaxy. But name the artist who performs the song. So I want you to name the singer or the performer. The song's called Do You Like Pina Colada? Features in the film Guardians of the Galaxy. But name the artist who performs the song. Something like, do you like pina colada? And that's all I'm going to do because I can't sing whatsoever. But yeah, the song Pina Colada, name the artist. Okay, number 4 now. I want you to name the character that the actress Scarlett Johansson plays in the Avengers films and a future Marvel release, which is going to be released in October of this year. So name the character actress Scarlett Johansson plays in the Avengers films and a future Marvel release in October of this year. That one is number 4. Got somebody on the live chat, the Stupid Penguin, saying how much he liked the Mandalorian. Yeah, I agree with you. I thought overall it was a good series. The only thing for me that was a little bit disappointed, I thought it's obviously made for TV, but I thought it was so cinematic. I would love to have seen it projected onto a big cinema screen because some of the visuals and the locations and set pieces were very impressive. Okay, so number 5, I want you to name the comic book editor, publisher, and producer who became Marvel Comics creative leader for 2 decades and died in November last year? So number 5 again. Name the comic book editor, publisher, and producer who became Marvel Comics creative leader for 2 decades and died in November of last year. What was his name? Couple more left on this round. Number 6. So actor Robert Downey Jr. walked out of a 2015 Channel 4 interview promoting Avengers Age of Ultron, but named the British journalist conducting the interview. So I want you to tell me the name of the Channel 4 journalist. He asked Downey Jr. a question about his personal life. Downey Jr. refrained from carrying on the interview, but name the journalist. Currently on Channel 4 News. Number 7 now. I want you to name the brothers who directed Avengers Endgame, Avengers Infinity War, Captain America Civil War, and Captain America the Winter Soldier. So it's the same 2 brothers. They directed these slate of films for the Marvel Studios. They were Avengers Endgame, Avengers Infinity War, Captain America Civil War, and Captain America the Winter Soldier. What are the name of the brothers? Couple more, we move on to number 8 in the Marvel Studios round. But name the American actor who plays Captain America in the Marvel Universe. Probably the simplest question if you're a Marvel fan. Name the American actor who plays Captain America in the Marvel Universe. What's his name? Number 9. Who made Captain America's shield? Number 9. Who made Captain America's shield? I want you to name the character who made Captain America's shield. I wouldn't have the foggiest idea. And number 10, last one of the round, question number 50 to finish the evening of all the 5 rounds. Which infamous aquatic bird cameos in the post-credit scene from Guardians of the Galaxy? So the first Guardian of the Galaxy film, but which aquatic bird cameos in the post-credit sequence? That is the last one. So that was the 50th and final question. The last round, round number 5. Would anyone like any repeated from this particular round? Any repeats? And how did you all fare for that final round? All linked to Marvel Comics and the very popular films, which always are so successful at the box office all around the world, across the globe, smash box office records. They pretty much keep cinemas afloat these days. They're such popular films. Anyone confident that they got the full 10 for this one? Anyone confident? Or how do you think you did with your scores? Give us a shout out. And how did you all feel you got on with this evening's quiz? Be really interested to hear your feedback. How did you find this evening? Did you enjoy it? What rounds would you like to maybe see for next week? Any things you didn't like? Please let me know on the chat feed. I'd be really interested to hear your comments. And once again, thanks for joining us. I hope you enjoyed it. Shan Edwards thinks she struggled with that round. Thinks 3. Matt Foster really confident with a 9. Okay, in a minute, I'm going to read the answers back from all 5 rounds, the questions that were given this evening. But before I do that, I'll just ask for any feedback. There were a couple of rounds that people wanted to see introduced for next week. For next week, I'm keen to do a round on science fiction films, so the sci-fi genre. And I'd also like to do a round dedicated to the director Stanley Kubrick. But would anyone like to see any other rounds? Any suggestions? And how did everyone feel about tonight's quiz? Did you enjoy it? Anything you'd like to see changed? Or be really interested to hear your feedback. So yeah, for the last 3 weeks, since we ran this YouTube channel, I've been doing a little thing called Desert Island Flicks, where I take a moment in my life. It could be childhood, it could be a part where I've settled down in life, or a film that I've kind of introduced to my children. And it's a film that I take on a desert island and give a reason why. So in week number 1, I chose the gangster epic made by Sergio Leone, released in 1984, Once Upon a Time in America, with Robert De Niro and James Woods, a very good film indeed. The second week, I chose Michael Mann's crime epic Heat, with Robert De Niro once again and Al Pacino as professional thief and cop on the chase in what I would say is a very intellectual, character-driven film, one of my favourites. And then last week, probably the film where I kind of discovered that cinema wasn't just about simply entertaining, putting bums on seats. I chose a film from Orson Welles, and it was his masterpiece, Citizen Kane. So for this week, I decided to choose a film from one of my favourite directors. Love this guy, love his work. I just think he was an incredible talent. My only great shame was that he didn't make more films, and he sadly died back in 1999, and that was Stanley Kubrick. And to pick one Kubrick film to take on a desert island for me was extremely difficult. There's so many I like. I could have chosen Paths of Glory, which is an amazing anti-war First World War film. I could have chosen that one. Lolita, again, is a controversial, very good film that he did with James Mason and Peter Sellers. Could have picked that one. I've always gone back to A Clockwork Orange, which I think is still a very powerful film. I could have chosen that one. Barry Lyndon, which is an incredible period piece that is cinematically stunning to look at. But the one I decided to choose was 2001 A Space Odyssey, which I saw for the first time last year when they re-released it on the big screen. And I just thought it was just an incredible film that really does set the benchmark for sci-fis. Really a quest of mankind, discovery. It's pretty much about, in some ways, evolution. But with Kubrick's films, you can read so much into them. The design of this film looks so incredible that 50 years on, it still holds up. It still looks fresh and new on screen. And to see it on a cinema screen where it needs to be viewed is just an incredible experience. And as silly as it sounds, the pure artistry of this film at the end, I got quite tearful because I just thought it was just such an incredible piece of artistry. And I just love Kubrick's films. So yeah, with the people logged on tonight taking part in the quiz, if you had to pick a science fiction film as a favourite or one you'd have to take on a desert island, I picked 2001 A Space Odyssey, but which ones would you choose? Anyone want to start the ball rolling? Somebody there saying 80s action movies. Yeah, I miss Dr. Strangelove. That's the problem with Kubrick. He's made so many great films. Spartacus, another good film. Eyes Wide Shut, some people class that as a masterpiece. I'm not so keen myself. I thought it had shades of brilliance and shades of the film that I didn't think worked whatsoever. Full Metal Jacket, another good war film. AI, yeah, that was a Kubrick project, wasn't it? Obviously a project he never was able to make, and Spielberg took it on. I've never seen it. Of course, another unfinished project of Kubrick's was his Napoleon, which unfortunately he never completed, never got off the ground. And another Kubrick film I failed to mention, probably one of his most successful commercially, is The Shining. Someone saying Eyes Wide Shut was awful. Yeah, I saw it at the cinema a couple of months back for the 20th re-release. I'd never seen it. For me, it had shades of brilliance, and some of it, for me, seemed like it was a filmmaker that was at the end of his tether, and for me, it wasn't as powerful as A Clockwork Orange, which I still think holds up. And I do go back and watch that film quite often. AI really good. Popular world cinema. When you say popular world cinema, do you mean Hollywood only, English speaking only, or do you mean world cinema as in European film as well, or films from maybe Asia or other forms of cinema? Yeah, that's right. Stephen King did hate his version of The Shining. I actually quite enjoyed. Oh, my mind's gone a blank. What was the sequel for The Shining that came out last year? Doctor Sleep. I didn't think that was bad, in all honesty. Yeah, Bad Films Round is a good one. I should say that in the city of Bristol, where I live, there's a young lad called Timon Singh who set up the Bristol Bad Film Club. That's very popular, gets such a big crowd, and he's written quite a few books on bad movies that are good. Any other films that people want to throw into the mix? Not necessarily a science fiction one, but what films would people take in onto a desert island, and for what reason? So if you could take maybe one film on a desert island for a particular reason, or maybe from a moment in your life, what would you choose? Yeah, music from movies. That was a good round last week. I enjoyed that one. They were quite popular songs. I think it's a shame. I'd love to be able to play the music, but obviously that infringes copyright. I wouldn't be able to do that, but we can certainly come up with a title and you can name the artist and the film it was featured. Lethal Weapon, yeah, back in the 80s. Poor old Mel Gibson. Silly man. The Guard, yeah, I know that film. Um, is that Brendan Gleeson? Prison drama, comedy? Yeah, we did a world cinema round a couple of weeks back. Yeah, I can certainly do one next week. I love my world cinema. I'm a huge fan of European. French films are probably my favourite, but I love people like Godard, Kurosawa, Bergman, some of the great filmmakers. Yeah, some of my favourite films, some of the best as well. Castaway, the Tom Hanks film. Yeah, as good as it gets. I haven't seen that since it came out in the late 90s with Jack Nicholson as a man with OCD. He won the best actor, didn't he, that year? Dreamcatcher. Remind me. Nightcrawler I've never seen. That's kind of like a modern day Taxi Driver. Am I right? With Jake Gyllenhaal. Billy Wilder films, they're always great. He's made about 6 classics, hasn't he? Some Like It Hot. And I probably put Sunset Boulevard as one of my favourites. That's a cracking film. Stephen King film, okay. Okay, so some good choices there. Maybe I'll come back next week with another desert island pick that maybe be related to one of the question rounds. But I like the world cinema idea, and the music round. We'll bring that one back. I enjoyed that one. Yeah, Helen Hunt. She doesn't seem to do an awful lot these days. She went through a phase in the 90s where she made lots of starring roles. Yeah, Pedro Almodovar. I loved his last film. We screened that one as part of LA Cinema. Oh, I'm trying to think of the name of it as well, about the filmmaker that looks back at his life with Antonio Banderas. Oh, the name's gone a blank. It's a beautiful film. Okay, Tarantino round. Animation films, nice one. Okay, so we'll go through the answers now for all 5 rounds. Thanks, firstly, for all of you taking part. I apologise for the technical issues at the beginning. That was a little bit of an embarrassment on a Friday. That's not happened before. But first and foremost, it's about taking part and enjoying things. And I hope you've enjoyed the quiz. And good luck with the answers. Okay, so let's go through them. So round number one was horror films. And the answer to number 1, I gave a description. It was a psychological horror film from 1973 with Donald Sutherland and Judy Christie. The film was Don't Look Now. So Don't Look Now was number 1. Number 2, the American actress who plays Carrie White in the Brian De Palma horror film Carrie was Sissy Spacek. So Sissy Spacek was number 2. Okay, so number 3, I asked you to name the director of 2 horror films. So they were Midsommar and Hereditary. The filmmaker's name is, I got to pronounce this correctly, is Ari Aster. A-R-I, and his surname is A-S-T-E-R. So that's number 3. Number 4 was the actress who plays Regan, a 12-year-old girl possessed by the devil in William Friedkin's The Exorcist. The actress was Linda Blair. Number 5 was name the Polish-born director. He made 2 acclaimed horror movies from the 60s. They were Repulsion and Rosemary's Baby. The director was Roman Polanski. So Roman Polanski for number 5. Probably made another film that I put in my desert island, which was Chinatown. Because there were 2 answers to number 6. The first one was name the German-born director who made a number of classic silent films and directed the 1922 expressionist horror film Nosferatu. The director was F.W. Murnau. And for an extra point, name the German director who made the 1979 remake. It was Werner Herzog. So F.W. Murnau and Werner Herzog are the answers for 6. Number 7, the film I described from 2017 from Jordan Peele was Get Out, which was very much acclaimed. How many films feature the fictional character Freddy Krueger? So there was 9 altogether. 7 in the original series. They did a remake a few years back. And there was also kind of a little silly spin-off, Freddy versus Jason, which I've heard is quite good, actually. So 9 films altogether in that franchise. Number 9, there was 2 answers to this one. So Robert Englund is the actor that played Freddy Krueger with director Wes Craven. They collaborated on a number of films. And the television series, I remember this one. I used to watch it on Sky back in the late 80s and 90s. The television spin-off was called Freddy's Nightmares. So Robert Englund and Freddy's Nightmares. Can anyone remember that series, Freddy's Nightmares? I used to quite enjoy that. And Freddy would be kind of the narrator. It had a little bit of black comedy in there as well. And number 10, lastly, I named a title of a horror film. You had to fill in the blank. So the title of a 1920 German silent movie, The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari was the answer. So that was all the answers to round number 1. How did everyone fare for this one? How did you get on? Anyone get them all? Did anyone get the Freddy's Nightmares one? Can anyone remember that television series? I used to watch it on Sky TV. It seems such a long time ago. I used to quite enjoy them. How did you all fare for the horror genre? How did you get on? Anyone get the lot? Okay, so Chris Judge didn't get F.W. Marno, but got Werner Herzog. I've never seen the remake. 5.5, pretty good score. Stupid Penguin, Gareth from Bristol. Anyone tonight that was not from the UK? We got anyone from America or anyone from Europe or anyone outside of the UK? Freddy's Nightmares, yeah. 9's a good score, very good. Round number 2, we brought back the movie taglines again. So the first tagline, a new comedy about sex, murder and seafood. That was from the 1989 film A Fish Called Wanda. That was a massive box office success in the UK. So A Fish Called Wanda, number 1. Amanda Harris, yeah, Freddy's Nightmares. Watched it in America. Yeah, I used to like that series. It's quite good fun. Second one, the longer you wait, the harder it gets. That was from the 40-Year-Old Virgin. So the 40-Year-Old Virgin, number 2. He's in Town with a Few Days to Kill. That was from a sequel. It was Predator 2. So Predator 2 is the answer for number 3. Cocktails First, Questions Later. The film was Swingers. Number 5, He May Be Dead, but He's the Life of the Party. That was from Weekend at Bernie's. So Weekend at Bernie's. Number 6, Experience It, Enjoy It, Just Don't Fall for It, is from Almost Famous. So Almost Famous, number 6. E.T., The Extraterrestrial, was number 7. The slogan was, He is afraid, he is totally alone, he is 3 million light years from home. An indie film for number 8, a film from the 90s, one I profess I've never seen. It was Clerks. Just because they serve you doesn't mean they like you. Clerks for that one. Number 9, You Won't Know the Facts Until You've Seen the Fiction. That was from Quentin Tarantino's Pulp Fiction. And lastly, number 10 was Being the Adventures of a Young Man whose principal interests are rape, ultraviolence and Beethoven. We spoke about the filmmaker earlier on. It was A Clockwork Orange. So that was 10 for the movie taglines. Brought it back again for another week. I think we'll drop that one for next week. I think I'm running out of taglines. How did everyone find this round and how did you get on? What were your scores for this one? How did you get on? So Matt Foster, a 5. That's a pretty good score. There were some hard ones in there, some difficult ones. The Weekend at Bernie's one was quite tricky. Shan Andrews, a 4. Mr. Baseheart, yeah, 3 for that one. A 2 from Stupid Penguin. Clerks I've never seen. I've never seen it. They did a sequel as well, didn't they? Was also going to say, whilst you give me your scores, anyone here this evening that is living in Long Ashton? The cinema's based in the village of Long Ashton in the UK, just on the outskirts of Bristol. Anyone from Long Ashton? If so, give us a shout out. Too difficult. Yeah, it's a difficult round, this one. Yeah, we won't be doing this one next week. I think we'll drop this one. Okay, we go on to the 1980s. A lot of you said you were confident with this one. You love the 80s films. So number 1 was a comedy from 1982 with Mr. Baseheart's favourite actor, Sean Penn, and a young Jennifer Jason Leigh. It was Fast Times at Ridgemont High, another film I've never seen. That was number 1, Fast Times at Ridgemont High. The 1986 movie based on the Stephen King novel, from the description, was Stand By Me. So Stand By Me, number 2. Number 3, I'd imagine you all got this one. 1985 film about a group of young misfits who discover an ancient map and set out on an adventure to find a legendary pirate's long-lost treasure. It's The Goonies. I'd imagine you all got that one. Blue Velvet was the bizarre mystery thriller from 1986, directed by David Lynch, of course. Number 5, a popular film from 1987. After moving to a new town, two brothers discover that the area is a haven for vampires. The film was The Lost Boys. So Lost Boys. Number 6, a comedy romance from 1985. Two high school nerds use a computer program to create the perfect woman, but she turns their lives upside down. The film was Weird Science. That was the one with Kelly LeBrock, wasn't it? Again, that's another one I've never seen. I'd imagine number 7, you all pretty much got this one. Famous film from the 80s, which in my opinion still holds up well today. It's Robocop, the man who's the cyborg haunted by his memories. So Robocop, number 7. Number 8, the 1982 comedy. Dustin Hoffman played the character Michael Dorsey, an unsuccessful actor who disguises himself as a woman in order to get a role on a trashy hospital soap. The film was Tootsie. So Tootsie was the film. Number 9, this one used to always be on ITV, late night. 1980 comedy. An exclusive golf course has to deal with a brash member and a destructive dancing gopher. It starred Bill Murray as a crazy guy in that film. It was Caddyshack. I think they did a sequel to that one as well. So Caddyshack. And lastly, number 10, a 1983 comedy. A snobbish investor and a wily street con artist find their positions reversed as part of a bet by two callous millionaires. The film was Eddie Murphy, Dan Aykroyd in Trading Places. So Trading Places was the last one. How did everyone fare? Taking the TARDIS back to the 1980s for this round. How did you all get on for this one? Lucy Hawkins doing well on that round. Well done. How did you all fare on the round from the 1980s? I think with this one, you could probably do a description for different decades. So we could do maybe 1 week the 60s, maybe another week films from the 40s, the 90s. You could come up with all sorts of questions. Andy Rouse, 8. That's a good score. Zach Bowen, an 8. Great. Amanda Harris, well done. 10. Excellent score. Anne Petrie, a 10 as well. 10 out of 10. Give yourself a pat on the back. Good. Good stuff. Okay, so next round. Oh, this was the tricky round, wasn't it? It was the movie props. This is the first time we've done this round. Okay, so number 1 was the dental pick from a 1976 crime thriller. The crime thriller was Marathon Man, which featured Dustin Hoffman and Laurence Olivier playing that famous Nazi dentist. So Marathon Man was a film I've not seen in donkey's years. And imagine you all got number 2, The Box of Chocolates, from a Best Picture Oscar winner from 1995. It was Forrest Gump. So Forrest Gump was 2. Number 3, I wouldn't know this one at all. The Burn Book, from a 2004 American teen comedy film. It was Mean Girls. Anyone get that one? Mean Girls. So The Golden Ticket, a children's film from 1971 and remade in 2005. It was Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, or Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I'll give you that one if you gave that answer. Number 5, The Umbrella, from a classic film musical from 1952. What a classic it was. Gene Kelly, Singing in the Rain, for number 5. Number 6, a 007 question. The Jetpack. Which James Bond film did it feature in from 1965? It was Thunderball. Number 7 was the film I took on my desert island earlier on this evening. But The Bone Club, the sci-fi masterpiece from '68, was Stanley Kubrick's 2001 A Space Odyssey. Number 8, The Heart of the Ocean, a popular Oscar-winning film from 1997. That popular film, I imagine you all got this one, was Titanic. So Titanic for number 8. And the last two, the Origami Unicorn from the 1982 film, it was Blade Runner, classic sci-fi film with Harrison Ford and Rutger Hauer. And lastly, probably the easiest one of the lot, that classic scene, the horse head, from a classic 1972 crime movie. That, of course, was The Godfather. So number 10, lastly, The Godfather. How did everyone do on this round? How did you fare? Everybody do well on this one? Somebody saying that for the last round they put David Lynch's Lost Highway instead of Blue Velvet. Easy mistake, I guess. But how did everybody fare for this round? 7's a good score. Really good score. Yeah, it was a tricky round. Amanda Harris an 8. Shannon Andrews a 6. Zach Bowen a 9. 8, yeah, not bad at all. Is it worth us bringing this back again, this movie props? Quite enjoyed this, coming up with the questions. A little bit different. 7's good, 9 excellent. Very good. Okay, we'll move on to the penultimate round, which was Marvel films. So somebody last week requested that we do a round related to the Marvel studio films. So here's the answers. So number 1, the American actor who plays the arch-villain in Spider-Man Homecoming, Michael Keaton, an actor I really like and I always feel is a little bit underrated. He's pretty much good in everything he does. Michael Keaton, number 1. Number 2, name the director of Iron Man, Iron Man 2, and the creator of the Star Wars Mandalorian television series. Got to pronounce his name right. It's Jon Favreau. Jon Favreau, number 2. I think he did The Jungle Book as well, didn't he? A music question now. The song Do You Like Pina Colada features in the film Guardians of the Galaxy, but name the artist who performs the song. It was Rupert Holmes. Did anyone get that one right? I wouldn't have known that at all. It's a good little catchy number though, that one. Okay, so number 4, name the character actress Scarlett Johansson plays in the Avengers films and a future Marvel release, which is due for release in October of this year, fingers crossed. So the character is the Black Widow or Natasha Romanoff. So if you put any of those answers or both, give yourself a tick. The Black Widow. Amanda Harris got the Pina Colada one. That was a tricky question. So number 5 was Stan Lee, the comic book editor, publisher and producer who became Marvel Comics creative leader for 2 decades and sadly died in November of last year. So Stan Lee for that one. Okay, so actor Robert Downey Jr. walked out of a 2015 Channel 4 interview. He was promoting Avengers Age of Ultron. The British journalist basically said to Downey Jr., we're a news program. We ask other questions apart from we just don't promote the film. He asked him a personal question about his past misdemeanors. The journalist was called Krishna Gurumurthy. Anyone remember that interview? He did the same with Tarantino. Tarantino walked out of an interview he did. I think it was for the Hateful Eight. He asked him a question about violence in his films. So it's Krishna Guru Murthy. Seems to get on the wrong side of most people. Okay, so name the brothers who directed Avengers Endgame, Avengers Infinity War, Captain America Civil War, and Captain America The Winter Soldier. It was Anthony and Joe Russo. So the Russo brothers. Couple more left. Number 8, the actor Chris Evans, who's recently seen in the film Knives Out. So he plays Captain America in the Marvel Universe. Chris Evans. This next one I wouldn't have had a clue. Who made Captain America's shield? Howard Stark was the character. Howard Stark for 9. And lastly, number 10, which aquatic bird cameos in the post-credit scene of Guardians of the Galaxy? So they made a film about him in the 1980s, which George Lucas was involved in, and it was a massive flop. Whether Marvel will do an individual film, I don't know, but it was Howard the Duck that finishes in the post-credit sequence for Guardians of the Galaxy. That was question number 50. Last answer tonight. How did you all get on? How did you all fare with the Marvel Studio round? How did you get on? Anybody get the lot? And are there many Marvel fans out there? And if so, what is your favourite Marvel film? I confess I've not seen many, to be honest. I've seen the 2 Guardians of the Galaxies. I did see the Black Panther, didn't like it at all. I did quite enjoy Spider-Man because it was, for me, that was fun and it didn't take itself too seriously. I kind of like a superhero film that doesn't take itself over seriously. Okay, 8's a good score. A 0. Yeah, to be honest, Shan, I wouldn't have done well on this one. As I said at the beginning, I don't watch an awful lot of the Marvel films. Corin Turnbull, an 8. Andy Rawls, a 9. Boom, boom, indeed. It's a good score. A 2, Lucy Hawkins, but you did say you were more up on your world cinema, weren't you? Yeah, if you don't watch these films, it's a tricky one. So yeah, totaling your scores over the 5 rounds. How did everyone do overall? Let me know your scores. Be interested to find out how you got on. Yeah, Winter Soldier, I've not seen that one. Lindsay Thomas, 4, but she loves the Marvel films. Thanks for tuning in tonight. I think this might be the first time you've done the quiz, am I right? Mr. Bayside, he always does well. He's a big film buff. He's got an excellent knowledge of film. He also works in a cinema. 38, Zach Bowen, that's a good score. I think Zach's played the quiz a couple of times now. The name certainly sounds familiar. Corin Turnbull, 25.5. Andy Rowles, who's played a few times. Thanks again, Andy. 24. Yeah, some good strong scores there. Okay, so we're going to end up this week. Thanks everybody for tuning in. I'd appreciate it. We first of all, thank you for subscribing to the channel. In the last couple of weeks, we've managed to get past 100 subscribers. I think we're at something like 121 in the space of 4 weeks, which is pleasing. So thanks for everybody that takes part and subscribe to the channel. Hopefully we won't lose any subscribers by the end of tonight. And once again, I apologize about the little tech issues at the beginning. I was starting to panic, running from room to room, highly unprofessional. Yeah, so if any constructive feedback would be greatly appreciated, either in the live chat or please leave a comment for tonight. I'd really appreciate that. Hopefully you'll join us next week. As I mentioned at the beginning, I've been furloughed from work because I work in a big corporate multiplex cinema. And at the moment, we're told it looks like it could be July for return to normality, but who knows? So we'll continue doing this quiz each week during the lockdown. We'll carry on. I've enjoyed it. It keeps my mind active and it's all good fun. And thanks a lot for everybody that takes part. The main thing is I hope you enjoy it. It's some escapism at the moment with these difficult times. We're in very unfamiliar territory, and it's just good to have a film quiz. And also, we all love films, so what better way? But yeah, thanks a lot for tuning in. As I said, please leave any comments with any feedback, what you liked, what you didn't like so much. And hopefully we'll see you next week, same time, same place on this channel. It's always at 8:30, and we normally go on for around about 90 minutes. With regard to LA Cinema, we have a Facebook page. You might have seen us on there. We're always coming up with updates and news and recommendations. And we're also on Twitter. So yeah, please follow us. And hopefully the cinema will be up and running, hopefully in the next couple of months. Fingers crossed. I think many of us are missing cinema, and it doesn't feel quite the same watching films on television sets or on laptops or iPads or whatever. It doesn't have that cinematic quality. Anyway, thanks again for taking part. Hope you've all enjoyed it. I'm going to sign off, and I'll see you next week, same time, same place, for the LA Cinema Film Quiz. Thank you very much. Thank you. Enjoy your weekend, and most importantly, stay safe.